Mm.
He's about 80 years, somewhere there.
And you say that is old?
He now start, man. Don't try that.
Laura, watch it there.
Yeah, I want to send condolences to him and his good morning to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
May she hold on to the Lord.
Yes.
God is going to bless her. And this morning I want to send a happy birthday to Angela Grenor. Her birthday will be tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
She's just forever young.
Mm-hmm.
A nice lady, my good friend.
Okay.
Me and Alfonso, good friend.
Mm-hmm.
I see you throwing Alfonso there. Easy.
Yeah, she's a good lady, very nice lady.
Okay.
God blessing lady. I want to say love to her. May she have a long life. She and her children. And I want to say happy birthday to my two sisters. Their birthday is this month too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their birthday, Nicole and Brownie. Sisley as we call her, but her nickname is Brownie because she's brown in color. Down there at Cocorite, Harding Place, Cocorite. Happy birthday to you all. Your birthday is coming up. Happy birthday to you all. I'm saying it now. You will have a long month of birthday. So I'm saying it early. Happy birthday to you all, Brownie and Nicole. Happy birthday to you all. And my son, Kenrick's birthday will be the 12th of June. So I'm saying happy birthday to him also.
Mm-hmm.
My son. He's a very pleasant young man. God bless him. May you live to see more and more birthdays. And good morning to Mr. Walker, Auntie Tiny. Good morning to my husband. Good morning to all those who hear my voice. Boy, it's not easy. We thank God for staying in, and when we are wearing our masks and I'm go out to the shop and come back, run back. You know, so we are staying safe.
Amen.
Praise God.
Praise
thank
God.
you so much.
Thank God for life.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Yeah, okay.
Be safe, all right?
Keep
Stay
up the
strong.
good work.
All
Stay
right.
strong.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Bye-bye. Good morning to Jillian, and happy birthday to you, Jillian, who's celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday to you. 628.
Listen, talking about Tobago, when is Nicole's birthday?
I think it's July.
It's July,
It's
not
July.
not June.
Nah, I don't think so. It's July.
Don't want to miss out that forever young, you know. Yeah, move along swiftly.
Good morning to Melissa, who's sending happy anniversary to her parents. Annette Humphrey, good morning and happy anniversary. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, a pleasant good morning. Beautiful morning. Beautiful.
Morning, how are you going?
I'm good. Sister Lord here.
Yes,
Hi, Sister Lord.
I would like to send happy anniversary greetings to my loving son-in-law,
Mm-hmm.
Jepon Williams, and my daughter, Colleen Williams. They are celebrating their 6th wedding anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to tell Jepon I love him very much. And I wish them all the best. Uncle Brother, Uncle Chris, you all be safe.
Thank you.
And we'll talk next week again. Let me give
Yes.
somebody another chat.
God bless you.
Thank
Yeah, God
you.
bless. Have a
Bye-bye.
blessed day too.
You too. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Chris, Dr. Fitzroy, and Dr. Gianna Terrell,
Mm-hmm.
22 years married today.
Wow, happy anniversary.
Yes, but they're not forever.
They're not forever young. Jenny and Marlon Alvarez also celebrated their anniversary on the 1st of June.
Yeah.
36 years.
But yeah, we could call their name here.
You call it name.
We could call their name here.
You
Let me
taking
take
this
one,
one?
Mana.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Brother and Uncle Chris.
Morning, love.
Thank God for life.
Yes, how are you?
Well, I'm holding on by the grace of God.
Amen.
I want to say good morning again. My memory verse is taken from Matthew chapter 7 and verse 3. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye? Amen. I love for Sister Margaret and the entire 98.1 staff and all my forever youngers. I want to say happy birthday to a loving nephew of mine. His birthday was yesterday, named Ian Williams out in Trinidad. Love coming out to you, Ian, from your dear auntie and family, and also to you, from your wife and your son. We all love you. Happy birthday to my loving neighbor, Lyndon Sobers. His birthday will be on Thursday. Nurse Lorette Macaulay on Thursday. And to a dear friend, Alistair Charles, out there in Lowlands, his birthday will be on Tuesday. And also to my cousin, Ryan Thomas, his birthday will be on the 4th. And I want to say now, we all have deaths in the families, some gone last week, in between May and this June. So I want to say condolences going out to Faustina and Adrian, to the Thomas family, Lashley, Devines, Marcel, Alexander, Nichols, Williams, and his love. And this is the last one is my neighbor and cousin opposite me. God is in control, but you know, he was very dear and nice to me. So may their soul rest in peace. And I also want to send out love to Auntie Winnie's family and Sister Charles. Love coming out to all of you all from Auntie Tiny. And let us try our best and hold on and do what we're supposed to do.
Amen. Amen, Auntie Taddy. I know it's a tough season. We are praying for you and be strong as well, okay?
God bless you.
God bless you. That's going to do it for our call-in segment. We have our sponsored program coming up in a short. Stay with us, Isaac 98.1.
To you from Scarborough. As the Tobago call-in time ends, here's a thought for you today and the week ahead. When we are caught up in the storms of life, it is so easy to think that God is no longer the master of the universe and that we are at the mercy of the raging winds of faith. Remember that Jesus is still willing and able to satisfy all our needs from the cares of this life. He is still in complete control, and more importantly, our personal destiny is in his hands. Just as he silenced the winds and the raging sea, Jesus can calm down all the storms in our lives, being the only one who knows the source of the winds and the waters. We just need to trust and praise him for each wonderful day, and of course, remember to include your thanks. Now don't move that dial, as I am sure you will continue to enjoy the rest of this morning's Forever Young program, and I thank you.
I want to say happy birthday going out to Pearl Payne, who's celebrating her birthday on Wednesday, June 9th, and this is coming from Gwen Jofield. Happy birthday to you, Pearl Payne. Sister Pam, good morning to you. Someone says, good morning, Uncle, Brother, and Chris J. Love that, Richard Smallwood. This is from Roxanne in Brooklyn, New York. Blessings to you, Roxanne. Jacqueline from Malabar is also praying that the Lord will comfort that sister in Jesus' name on losing her husband. Annette says, good morning to Uncle, Brother, and Chris J. Job well done. I'm enjoying the program. Have a lovely day. Reach home safely. Happy birthday to my son Ezekiel. May God richly bless him with long life. And this is from Annette in Claxton Bay. Los mayores, cumpleaños feliz. Someone says, good morning, Uncle, Brother, and Chris J. Enjoying the program. Hi to all the Forever Young ones. Enjoy, stay safe, and stay dry. Love you all. Suzanne Samuel. Blessings to you. Good morning to Evangelist Theresa. She says, sending happy birthday greetings to my daughter Sherry, celebrating her birthday on the 8th, and also to her son Jordan, celebrating on the 12th. They are not forever young. They reside in London. I'm sure they are listening. Blessings to you. Good morning, Bertha Moses from Digo Martin. Laura B. Love in the house. How you doing? Camille and Paul Chow, good morning to you. Beverly from South Sudan. She arrived safely back to Virginia yesterday morning for a well-deserved vacation. So blessings to you, Beverly. Nice to hear from you. We have our segment coming up in a short. Stay with us. Isaac 98.1 FM, the station of promise, as we continue to inspire families and inspire you.
Family is the bedrock of our society.
As the world continues to adjust to the new realities that are before us, we must ensure that our families are protected and remain resilient.
The Ministry of Social Development and Family Services presents It's Family Time. Let's talk, with special features to include the impact of COVID-19.
Join us every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. as we take a deeper look into how this pandemic has affected our mental state, our parenting skills, and our relationships with our children, spouses, the elderly, persons with disabilities, those living with HIV and AIDS, and ourselves.
Remember, stay home, stay safe, save lives.
The Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, helping, empowering, transforming lives. This week's topic is all about parenting, single parenting and co-parenting, with special guests Mr. Rhondall Fields, President of the Single Fathers Association, and Shelly Ann Hart, Program Development Specialist.
As we wait to connect with our guests for the program, I want to remind you that you can log on to our Facebook page, Isaac 98.1 FM The Promise, and you can view the program, the upcoming segment there. You can also like and subscribe and view the segment on YouTube at FBN TV. All right, so you have different options to be a part of the program coming up in a short. Stay with us, Isaac 981.
And one more time, we welcome you again to our segment sponsored by the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, and we have this morning as our guests Mr. Rhondall Fields of Single Fathers Association, and back with us this week is Farisha Mohammed, who will be filling in for Miss Hart this morning. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Pleasant. Good morning, everyone.
I'm so accustomed with you, Farisha, that I want to go to Mr. Fields first with my question.
Sure.
I'm also going to ask him if he can turn on his camera, because we're going to be broadcasting live both on our Facebook platform and on our YouTube platform. So if you can give us some camera access, we'll be fine. Mr. Fields, good morning.
Morning. I'll turn it on in a bit, but you can shoot the first question for me by the time.
Okay. No problem. I have to ask you that something concerning the name of the organization, because in doing my research, it seemed as though you had an adjustment to the name.
Yes, that's correct. What we did at the beginning of the year, we altered the name from the Single Fathers Association to the Fathers Association of Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, for years we've represented fatherhood in its totality. Yes, we have kept to the forefront the inequity of single parent fathers, and we have also brought to the fore that there have been fathers who have been the custodial parents of their children who have been disadvantaged at times. You understand? But we realize generally we've always represented fatherhood as the epicenter of the entire thing. Good fatherhood and its importance and relevance to society. So that's why we decided a name change of a more inclusive nature would have been the best thing going forward.
And you see now that there's a shift to it, including the holistic view of fatherhood as against focusing on single fathers?
Well, we've always done that. We've always done that. But since the name, your name is what does really propel what you represent. So people would get single father and sometimes overlook the fact that we've generally always promoted fatherhood above anything else. In the beginning, I would say we started with the epicenter being the issues that we are having and the challenges in court, but we realized the effect proper change. We had to deal with society itself because it wasn't just judges making bad adjudication. The judges was coming from the society. So it means the society had a bad perception of what fatherhood is and what the value of fatherhood is to the family circle. So we realized it was about getting into the society, and we started from that point going forward, representing fatherhood, no matter which way, form, or fashion it came, promoting good fatherhood for fathers who may have shirked their responsibility, and also to exonerate fathers who would have wanted their responsibility and they were being denied to have that opportunity.
Mr. Fields, what kind of impact has your association been having since its inception on the fabric of the family in Trinidad and Tobago?
I think not only the family, I think society generally. I think no one, in my day of growing up, when you heard discussions on fatherhood or pronouncements on fatherhood, rather, whether it be the pastor, whether it be the priest, the minister, the prime minister, it was always to tell fathers to step up. It was always a discussion about a father being a deadbeat father. Now, since the introduction of our organization, the discussion has widened. You've seen disadvantages that fathers face. You've seen the lack of public service awarded to their children when they are custodial parents of the children. We've seen the shortcomings of the court system. We've seen inadequacy when it comes to sharing of custody just because they were male or just because they were parents. So we've been able to show society that they always have had a percentage, there always have been rather a percentage of fathers that have been interested, and more so this generation of fathers has a different zeal and desire to be involved in their children's lives, because we were the boys that grew up without our fathers. Our fathers, even though they have been physically home, because they were cultured to work and not to be part of the nurturing process. You didn't understand. Men today have never heard their fathers say, "I love you." But because of what they have done, they interpret it as love. I have never heard my father say, "I love you." But my father loves me. I know that based on what he does. And I know, because I have changed the way I have done things, I have to tell him I love him. So it's changed the fatherhoods, it's changed relationships between the generations of fathers and sons. And many fathers today tell their sons they love them. Their sons reciprocate. I can see that from example, not only of myself, but those fathers that I'm around as well. So we've shifted a lot more than meets the public eye or what the media will tell. We've impacted society and the fabric of what fatherhood means in Trinidad and Tobago.
Ms. Mohammed, would you concur with Mr. Fields that there is this new outlook on fatherhood in Trinidad and Tobago, and how does your ministry respond to all of that?
Okay, so definitely I would say that, as Mr. Fields would have highlighted, the role of a father in any child's life, it is very important. in the upbringing and the outcome of who that individual would be when he or she reaches adulthood. And with that, aligning the question with what the ministry does, currently under the Family Services Division, we host parenting workshops. And in recent times, we would have included single parenting. So it would have the single fathers as well as single mothers. It would have fallen under that bracket where we would have addressed how do we parent as a single parent. So that would have been inclusive of, co-parenting as well as, being a single parent, and how important it is to have the fathers involved in the nurturing aspect of parenting.
You introduced the term there, co-parenting. For the uninformed in Trinidad and Tobago, how would you describe that?
So co-parenting is basically two parents who are no longer in a relationship, a romantic relationship, whereby they would be, working alongside with each other using effective communication in order to be parents of the child without having it done in a hostile environment. Because a lot of times you would know that when persons split up after a relationship has gone bad, they would have a lot of hostility between themselves, and it is sometimes unfortunate that the children get tied up between that hostility, whereas the parents not seeing eye to eye, so one parent will withhold the child as a pawn, where the child doesn't go to see the other parent because I am upset with you. So what we want to do within that aspect is understand that even though the both of you would have been separated, it is very important for that child to be properly parented by both parents, not just one, in an effort to maximize the potential of that child and who that child could be. Because the conflicts, it doesn't affect the parents as much as it would affect the children.
I agree. I've been hearing reports of an upsurge in the divorce rate, and therefore I would say, tangenting from that, you will find issues to deal with the custody of children. Does the ministry have an arm that deals with counseling people as it pertains to that?
Yes, as I said, under the National Family Services Division, we are responsible for the psychosocial aspects of, assisting families. And with respect to that, as you would say, sometimes, matters are heard before the court, whether it's a maintenance matter, whether it's a matter for custody, and the court would send the parents to our division for co-parenting counseling. So therefore, the social workers attached to the division, we are now responsible for doing the co-parenting, where we would, teach effective communication skills, management skills, the importance of the parent-child relationship and all of that. So that way, we would now report to the court and let the court know these are the different interventions that we would have done and how effective it is. Some persons, they do continue after the date of hearing has passed and we report to the court. Some persons do continue to seek counseling from us in order to parent or co-parent with the persons who were previously their partners.
Would the child have a role to play in that whole exercise?
Definitely, because it is very important. We promote, parenting and all of that, and it's also important to understand in the process that children have opinions, even though they may be, they may be very young, but they still have opinions, whereas they would still have a part to play in the entire process. So we bring the children in, especially if there's conflict in the environment. We bring the children in to hear where they are actually at, how they feel emotionally about it, and then we would be able to actually do the intervention as required. So some sessions would include the child, some would not include the child in it, based on the topics that are being discussed.
Mr. Fields, you hinted at first that there was a bias towards placing children with the female side of the family, and now there seems to be a much more of a balance. Can I assume that?
Well, I can't say there is a balance. Statistic. We would have gotten statistic on the research we have conducted in the European Union, a collaboration that we had in a project collaborated together with the Emancipation Support Committee, where it showed that father was 3 times more likely not to get custody of the child, even though the mother and the father are equal footing, same footing, both are safe, the child, none of them had any record of violence or anything like that, any abusive nature. So this is the statistic. That statistic, however, hasn't changed. What we have tried to change is society itself and the way society deals with co-parenting and these kind of things. So to support the ministry's stand, what we want to do, or what we have been doing, is trying to send persons who have these issues with parenting to those places first to come. So whatever the family services, or not the family national family service, we also use the mediation centers as well, and ask them to go there to try to bring some kind of restoration before going to the court. Culturally, we have been taught, or we have been told, or we've seen it on television, that once you have a disagreement within the family, or you all have our intimate relationship has ended, the first place you should go to is the court. Our mothers have taught our daughters, and our mothers and fathers have taught our sons that you're not getting to see a child, go to the court. You're not getting you're not listening to your carry him in court. And really and truly, that is where we now have to change how society views the family. To me, family and court should never be in the same sentence at any time. Court is not for that. You understand? So I think what we now have to do is start promoting that restorative side, so that even if our intimate partnership has ended, we can foster parental partnership. And that is what must be pushed from society. It must come from the courts. The courts must be the very last resort. So in order for the court to become the last resort, you must strengthen the other resources. And the state needs to understand the value and relevance of strengthening national family services, strengthening the mediation centers. These things should be in every community center. By every space, every community block, you should have an office that is well equipped and well staffed to deal with this restorative process. So that people now, the reason people go to the courts is because when they get into this problem and your family who are skilled in resolving it can't help you, they're searching for someone to help them resolve it. So if we put some of these places that are non-adversarial by nature in the communal space, you're going to see a lot less people going to courts. So the whole challenge really is for we as advocates, not only as advocates, but even the judicial advocates or the judiciary themselves must now advocate for this level of restoration, restoring some kind of family network, so that even though we are separated intimately, we can still be a family. We don't need to go to court for nobody to pay maintenance as a way to pay back. We don't need to stop letting the other party be a part of raising the child or sharing the child as a form to pay back or revenge or enmity or spite. If the child going to turn 18 years, by the time the child turn 18 years, what you're going to spite the other person with after? So it's about teaching these things to people so that they deal with the spite, the hate, the guilt, or the hurt that may have come out of the relationship, intimate relationship, that they are now going to try to place into this new parental relationship that's going to destroy the mother, the father, and the child. But if we don't speak this language to them, or if we don't show them that restorative process, they're going to think the only solution, based on what we see on television, based on what we heard our mothers and fathers said before us, is to go to court. So people use the going to court or go to a lawyer as the first line of approach, because we have not supported those agencies, we've not advertised them accordingly.
Where do you think this education of our population should start so that the change would come?
The very same place the education started before that told us that to go to court is the first and best place. You need to have it on just like this, shows like this, mainstream TV. They need to have it on that, and they need to have these shows at prime time, news time, just after news, just before news, just like all the prime time series that is available. You need to also go out into the community spaces as well, and let people know we have you just go build a building and put it there. There are some of those mediation centers that have been there for ages, and people don't even know what is relevant, what is purpose, and who it serves. So there must be a proper advertisement, a proper drive. And then the advertisements must be easy for people to understand. Because sometimes you put out what it is, the minister may open it also, but the people still don't know what purpose it serves. So it's very, very important to get a message from up top down to the ground so that these services are utilized as the first approach when these things take place.
Ms. Mohammed, I have to applaud the ministry for including family services as part of its mandate. And I also have to applaud you for having programs as identified by Mr. Fields like this, where we can talk family. Are there any other instruments that the ministry has that would educate our population concerning what is available and how we should approach it?
Okay, so the information is out there. It is via the ministry's website, right, where all the services of the ministry, it's there, and it's accessible to the general public. So with that being said, that is one of the aspects of the informative basis of how we do business, right? So basically, apart from that, well, I could speak that we have newsletters that will be going out into the press on a regular basis, talking about the ministry and what happens within the ministry, as well as throughout the time of as programs and services become available, or they are now in effect. It is publicized via television, newsprint, as well as the same website, right? So any service that is provided by the Ministry of Social Development, it is usually made public via the televised programs or ads. It will be published in the newspaper as well as it is on the website.
Now, we have theatre arts as part of our education system. Does the ministry have an intention of encouraging people in theatre to produce work that would represent those kinds of views that would change the way we think and behave?
Well, I can't say that that is an approach that will be taken by the ministry. I can't answer that. That will be something for the executives to see whether or not that will be in progress. But as social workers, what we do is, if we identify a skill in our client who comes to us, so whether it may be a single parent who is now going out into independence after a broken relationship or whatever, we look for the strengths of that person and we build upon it. So whereas we may be able to network with other agencies and have the client develop skills, there's also the adult education program, where a lot of different skill sets they are identified there. So what we would do is we would network with the outer agencies, and we would have that person build upon their skills. So if their skills is in the arts, we would direct them to where they can go and do a short course, how they could do things to differently develop themselves so that they would be able to become independent and use their skills to their benefit.
Mr. Fields, I'm going to throw the same question at you. Given the fact that your organization is advocating for certain views to be changed in the society, do you see the need for theatre to be used as one of the instruments of teaching people about that change?
Of course, I mean, theater is important, and they use theatrical display when you're having those same ads on television. So I know a lot of schools have drama. These are groups, sometimes they're roving theater, caravans, sense movements. A lot of these groups, they create good drama, they create some dramatic scenes. And I think this is the way sometimes to get the younger population more so. So they would understand things. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Finding different ways, whether it be theater, whether it be music, whether it be spoken word, whether it be whatever, ways that people are going to find the message palatable so that they're going to find that if you understand where they're coming from, we don't need to go to a court. When we grew up at my age, in our relationship, seeing your mother or your father going to court, you're thinking that is the only way. But if they now are introduced to something new, that, hey, we could talk this out. There are new groups that are advocating for parental rights, like the Fathers Association. I've had young boys who are 10 years my junior message and say, hey, if I didn't hear those things you said on television, I wouldn't understand certain things. And I was a boy when I heard you speak. I'm a man now. So just that level of advocacy, just that support coming from the ministry, coming from the judiciary, coming from these places where we now make a collective song that, hear what? Fostering a parental partnership. And the thing is, we're all making the song, We're all making it in our own space. We all come together for these shows at times. But there needs to be, I think, a direct strategy that comes from all parties, the right amount of resources going into it, and we push it, drive it into society, drive the message into the society. If we have to have an agenda, let's have a very good one into supporting and fostering good parenting, even though it may be single home parenting, but we must have that one family. Even though we're in separate homes, we are still a family. We still love you. That's the best environment for the child. The child now understands that mommy and daddy couldn't make it. I am not the reason for that, but I have mommy's love. I have daddy's love. Mommy and daddy at every event. Mommy and daddy has no issue. And I think that's it. It's about changing the direction of when these matters fall apart. Instead of sending people to court, is exactly what the ministry is saying. Let's send them into an area where they can be co-parented. So we need to, I'm saying this for any government, successive governments. I know the representative of the ministry can't say it, but I could say it. I am saying that we need to invest heavily in these organizations, National Family Services, these mediation centers, these places that are from states, don't even have to be the NGO, showing that we are interested and focused on the rebuild and sustenance of family in Trinidad and Tobago.
I hear you. And it is my information that the ministry uses advertorials in the newspapers, and they've used the spoken word and so on as part of the creating the vehicle for the message. But I want to make it personal to you now. You spoke earlier about your father not articulating his love to you by saying it, but by doing it. What would you say would be one experience that you had that tells you, yeah, this guy loves me?
Of course. I mean, my father and my mother didn't have a good relationship. It was an abusive relationship between the both parties. But she was the one receiving the abuse. But my relationship with my father was totally different. Of course, I detested what he did to my mother, but the guidance and the advice, one of the things my father always told me is never be a follower, always be a leader. And he would give me examples of him being, he was a cricketer, he'd give me examples of him being on the cricket pitch. And if his mother called and everybody else wanted to stay out, nobody could make him stay out. He did what he knew was right to do. Always do those things. And I remember times in secondary school when I would have friends going to smoke and do all those things. And those lessons came back to my mind, even though he wasn't living with me at that point in time. So I would have seen a number of different ways my father would have displayed love. And my father actually is in my care at this moment. My mom passed away, and he is in my care now. And I would continue to tell him, I love you. I love you. And he would say, okay, boy. Yes, boy. Okay, boy. And at the end of the day, I understand. But I'll share this with you. And I will share it with some friends. The relationship my father has with my sons, they don't know the father that I knew with the violence and the abuse of my mother. They know a grandfather that they love. They know a grandfather that loves them and takes care of them. And one day my younger son said to him, my grandpa, I love you. You know the man say, I love you too. So in my mind, I felt so happy that even though I still couldn't hear him, still even if I tell him no, he'd say the same. Yes, boy, yes, boy. I heard him tell his grandsons he loved them. And that in itself is a blessing for me. So the thing is, it's so important. It's so important because even I look at it now. I don't know my father's history. Men of those days, my father is 87. They don't share what they went through as sons. So I can't judge him because I could say I love you to my sons. I don't know what he went through. And a lot of young men and women would say the very same thing I'm saying today.
Ms. Mohammed, would you say, Ms. Mohammed, that this was a cultural thing, or is something that was lacking in a certain era of our growth as a nation?
I think it is more cultural, as Mr. Fields has been saying time and time. What happens is that, we know that the love is there, but it was never verbalized. But in actions, it would have been, acted out. So the parents would make sure that the children have their meals. They would make sure they go to school. If they know that the child is supposed to be back home from school at 3 p.m. and they see the 3 p.m. pass, they will come out looking for you. So it was more of a cultural thing, whereas men were not or are not groomed to actually verbalize how they feel. It is always as though a man's supposed to be macho and egotistic and all of these things, and they're not supposed to show the soft side of them, because if I show the soft side of myself, then that takes away from manhood. So people were generally, that was the cultural background of persons. But as time has changed, we would know, and Mr. Fields' generation coming down, it is easier for us to say, I love you, tell their children, whether it may be boy or girl, that, now I could openly say that I love you, and it is more accepted than long ago when our parents were, that generation of parents where they were not groomed in that way to actually verbalize how they felt.
I'm glad you said our parents, because I'm listening to you and I'm listening to Mr. Fields, and then I started to go through my own experience, and I can tell you that my father told people that he loved us, but I cannot remember my father saying to me that he loved me. However, I was absolutely sure that he did. In fact, I tell you a little secret. We preferred, when my mother would not be home, Mommy would visit with her parents, and she would help take care of her parents and so on. For certain gaps, Daddy would be in charge of us. We preferred that, He used to cook and give us more. When he was shopping in the market, he would purchase the largest tomatoes. He would, in fact, his would be tomatoes. Mommy would be tomato, because Mommy looking to buy it by the pound. So we always preferred Daddy. Daddy would always be cooking something special, and he would be washing and we'd be taking care of us. So we knew of the love, but it was never vocalized to us. And I'm wondering if that was a generational, cultural thing that occurred.
Yeah, definitely. It had to be, because if we all have the same stories, you can tell that culturally and traditionally, that's how the rule was. Daddy had to be strong. Daddy had to show strength. You understand? Daddy had to show that, hey, I will protect you. And thinking that, sometimes vocalizing that, to me, I thought that was weakness. But I can tell you, it takes a greater strength for a man to vocalize that. And it is an important thing for your children. Because, and I have seen it. I mean, I didn't, one of the sole reasons I did it, and I vowed to do it as a child when I became a man, is because I didn't receive it. And I can see the power of it in my sons today. I can see the assurance and the confidence of my love, that though they see all that I do for them, they are the ones that I could never come off my phone without they saying, Daddy, I love you. They could never go to their mom without saying, Daddy, I love you. If I go say it, they will say it. And it means that it's become normalized to them. It's a normal thing. So I'm expectant of them to send it down to their generation as well. Tell their children they love them. Despite of this, it's not just a belief that Daddy has to love you. Daddy says that I love you. Words are powerful. Words build and words destroy every time.
Apart from your individual work that you're doing with your family, what are some of the other things that the Fathers Association would be doing to engender this increase in fathers articulating their love to their families and showing themselves to be strong in building the fabric of the family?
I think definitely if I can seem to slip mentorship in there, I think that is important, because I think other fathers view the ways that we would mentor even sons that are not ours. But not only the other fathers looking on, but those boys particularly that we mentor. I have so many of them. Sometimes I have so many sons. Those boys have taken boys to meet their father. A young boy took from Lavender to meet his father in Tobago after 13 years. And that kind of bond they would have been able to build after that. There are boys who there's a particular young man as well. I've mentored him. He's never met his father in the United States. He's now about to meet him. Just giving them that assurance, just calling them son. I have seen how alter their path of life. You know, some boys who could have taken the bad road and end up in crime. Just seeing some male person stand and support them. Now give them, hey, this is what our father's image should be. This is what I want to be. This is the type of father I want to be when I have a family. Because they are the fathers of tomorrow. So you have to invest in young boys. You have to invest or look sometimes, seek out mothers who have sons who they can't get a hold of. There are men who are exemplary, who are models in your community. Push your sons behind them to model themselves like them, so that they have that male view, that male image of something masculine. We sometimes try to do everything ourselves. We become an independent nation, like if anybody could do anything by themselves. We fool ourselves into thinking, I could raise this. My mother was able to raise my brother and I as good adults in moral ways and stuff. But I can tell you, she failed miserably in raising men, because she didn't understand what it took to be a man. She didn't understand the kind of pains and the hurts. She couldn't even teach us how to use the washroom. So the physical anatomy in some certain areas she couldn't help also. So it is relevant and important for young boys to have that male role model, or that male image, or that male person. They could just pick their mind, hear what they say, hear what they think, see if they went through some of the things you're going through as a teen today. And I think people always say the youths don't like to listen, but once you see you show youths love and show them that you're interested and committed to them, I think definitely they gravitate you. And that to me is a strong and important component of building families in the future, by empowering young boys who are going to be fathers.
Mr. Fields, we have a situation in Trinidad and Tobago where at the earliest level of a child's life, their teachers are mainly female. In the primary school system, in the secondary school system, most of the teachers are female. And therefore, what you just highlighted about the inability of your mother to assist in educating you on some things in life, there is a dearth of that in the society. What kinds of education process should we engage in to encourage men to be involved in education?
And that's a good point. And I think I'm going to say that's men are partially to blame for there being so little teachers as well, because sometimes it's the whole stereotype of maybe a nurse is a woman's job, or maybe a teacher is a woman's job, and as traditionally maybe they need to be softer, but the teacher that is in the school should be the dean because he's the disciplinarian alone. But at the end of the day, we nurture as well, men nurture as well, and men need to know that we nurture as well. We may do it differently to women, but it doesn't mean that it is unnecessary. Children will tell you they learn equally as much as they would learn from their mothers, they would learn from their fathers. We have different strategies, but we teach them. And I think even we as men have to have that level of confidence that we are needed in certain spaces. And I'm glad that you raised that point, because I would see the judiciary send out ads. I would see the social services send out ads. I would see these places where they need that male component send out ads to anyone, and men don't respond. So I don't even want to say that it's because jobs being given to the women. The women are responding because they see there is a need. So men need to realize that they are valuable in these spaces also. The way they teach and the way they train is necessary because you're going to need young boys, you're going to need mentorship, you're going to need sometimes these homes are led by women and raising boys, and they will call them lions and tigers, saying they don't know how to handle them, asking us to come in and help them together with the ETPS to mentor these boys. So men have to realize their relevance, particularly when it comes to the generation after us. And we need to realize that no matter what, if it's a carpenter, is a plumber, is a teacher, is a lawyer, is a pastor, is a minister, is a whatever, you would have some relevance as a man to instruct the life, particularly not only of young boys, because girls too, sometimes girls don't have that understanding of a father's love, saw something negative, or even if they didn't see their father, heard something negative from their mother about men. And then she forever could never end up in a good relationship because she's expectant of something bad that happened to her ancestors before her. So it is also important for both boys and girls to understand and to see the relevance of men generally in our society. That a man could protect, a man could serve as well.
I know the ministry has a hotline that is available for residents of Trinidad and Tobago to call when they are in need of support. I'm going to ask Ms. Mohammed to remind us of the hotline, please.
Okay, so the National Family Services Division, our numbers to call, it's 623-2608, extension 6701, all the way up to 6710. That number again is 623-2608, extensions 6701, straight up to 6710. We also have the ministry's hotline for persons who are experiencing, trauma due to COVID-19, and that number is 801 MSD.
801 MSD.
Yes.
Thank you. And we're going to open our lines now and ask our listeners or viewers to join in the discussion. So I'm going to ask Chris, my co-host, to let you know the number to call.
And you can call us right now, 628-1981, 628-1981.
And please, when you join in the discussion, we want to keep it relevant to what we're talking about. The leading up to Father's Day. So we want to talk about fathers in the community. I think we have a caller on the line. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I just want to congratulate Mr. Steve and tell him continue the good work. And we females, we want the organization like that to press forward. The question that I would have, does he have assistance? So in case, that association could continue and grow to really help the fathers as well as the young men coming up in our society today. And thanks again and continue the good work.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fields, you have a fan. We have another caller on the line. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, good morning. Wonderful, wonderful program. Mr. Fields, hats off to you. It's not just the Fathers Association fine, but if you could gather men of like mind, that have a heart and the passion that you have, to have an association of men that will actually seek out these younger ones or these fathers that have fallen by the wayside and just work with them, that will be awesome. The ministry, I don't know, the ministry need men like you to work because the ministry, I think, is hopeless. The program last week with the mental section, they will have plenty calls coming in. It seems like they always have calls, and they will continue to have calls, especially in a season like this, where construction work and everything is done, and that's where a lot of men, especially in my area in Enterprise, that's where they make a living, and their families will be very starving at this point. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. And before we go to the next caller, I noticed a lot of women calling. Where are our men this morning? Caller, you're on the line. Good morning.
I'm enjoying the program. I'm a single mom with 6 boys, right? And when I call the dad and tell him he could come and see about the children or come and talk to them, sit down and talk to them, because as a woman, I could only do so much, right? And his part is to encourage them to do certain things. And even though I call him and tell him to come and spend time with them, come and pick them up. The big one, he's 19 years Friday coming. And he never really know about man stuff. So that's my biggest fear.
Thank you very much, caller. Mr. Fields, do you feel as though there must be a way in which the request is couched, as against given the idea that you need to come and do this, but let us try to do something? Yes?
Hey, really? Well, you read my mind, huh? You read my mind. You read my mind. Sometimes, and I mean, I'm glad that you raised that point, huh? Sometimes based on the history, sometimes based on the way it's asked, sometimes based on the acrimony that there's been past. When you decide, all right, I need you to come now, that person is now despondent, or he now trying to be vengeful at that point in time, which is also an immature approach to it as well. So it's something that needs work. It's not just, all right, come and take them today, or hey, the children need you now. Sometimes there's a lot of things to be, a lot of things to heal possibly from the past. Because I would have men come and say, oh, you know, all the years I wanted to do this. I'm not saying this is the case in this lady's case. I don't want them to feel offended. But they would say, you know, many years I tried. And sometimes they hold on to one experience from 20 years ago that they didn't let go to, that they need to let go. The boy, I went to carry Pampers. And when I went to carry that Pampers, the girl embarrassed me in front of everybody and tell me this is not my child. And sometimes that stayed in that person for 20 years and kept that little acrimony. So sometimes it's about pulling mom, dad together. Sometimes just dad on his own to show me, apart from what happened, your children now need you. Forget what happened between you and mommy. Your children need you. You all need to fix that between yourselves, but you more so need to be involved in your children's life. Period.
Ms. Mohammed, do you think that the ministry and the judiciary in initiating programs or in dealing with parents who are about to be separated should put in place systems where these things can be taught so that people know this is the approach that should be made when you're going to be entering into a co-parenting exercise?
So yes, that would be definitely yes, because you know, sometimes life happens and things happen that, you know, it's not expected. When you're not expecting something, you're not prepared to deal with it, right? So nobody goes into a marriage or into a relationship with the hope that they're going to be divorced or separated. Nobody does that. So you go into a relationship and you go into the relationship with the hope of building a future. Children are a part of our future, right? At some instances, you know, the relationship, it begins to deteriorate. And when there's a point where the both parties reaches and they would say, okay, there is no more we can hold on to, one of the things that you cannot let go of is being a parent. A parent is a full-time job. It is not a part-time job. So, you know, we can't expect that a mother would be there when she feels to, or a father would be there when he feels to. But it's something that needs to be continuous. And it should be continuous in understanding that as parents, the development of my child, it is very important. So with having, you know, programs set up, it would be as a result of, you know, we are actually doing something proactive instead of reactive. So your relationship has now, you know, been split. Come to us and let us teach you how to co-parent. Let us teach you the benefits of being, you know, effective in communication. Let us teach you the effectiveness in being a good parent as an individual and not focus on well, he did this to me or she did this to me, and this is why I don't want him around the children or I don't want her around the children. So definitely, if it starts at an earlier process, as Mr. Fields would have said, it doesn't necessarily have to go before the court. Because one of the things I like to ask parents, did the court tell you to make these children? No. So why does the court have to tell you how to parent the children or what is good for the children and what is not good for the children? You as an individual needs to know that, okay, yes, I took this responsibility of being a parent. Now it is my duty to ensure that these children, they are molded and groomed into the most, beautiful young men and women that they are out there.
Would you remind us of your contacts, please? Because I'm quite sure there are a lot of people who are thinking that they should make a call to the ministry.
So the number to call is 623-2608, extension 6701, all the way up to 6710.
And remind us of your COVID pandemic
And
number.
that number is 801 MSD.
801 MSD. Mr. Fields, is there a number that the nationals of Trinidad and Tobago can call if they want to be in contact with your organization?
Yeah, we do. We have a WhatsApp contact at 4815762 and 3546991. We also have a Telegram chat. That chat is for men alone. So when you get onto those numbers, we would put you into that chat. That space is a space that we're trying to have for only men. So men are allowed to vent. We have about 200 men on there already. So we're encouraging guys to get onto that group, because what we do every second Wednesday in the month, we have a Zoom session with these men as well. So we encourage men to get onto the chat. We encourage women to get your men onto the chat, whether it be your husband, your brother, whether it be your nephew, your sons. Encourage them to message the two numbers I just put out there, 4815762 and 3546991, and we will add them to the chat where we'll be able to correspond with them better. And then we also try to foster that camaraderie. So, I mean, you're talking about, we are not state funded anyway. We've always done this volunteer and from money from our own pockets at Single Fathers Association. So we've put men together in a space together with us. So even now we see them helping each other through their own challenges by things they learn from us. So we can't grab everybody all the time, but each person that learns, and more people that get onto that outreach chat that we have every second Wednesday at 7 p.m. From on that Telegram chat, it's better for us. One thing I think is important, it's good to have these little silos and spaces for people to go. But at the end of the day, if people who really go in through pressure start calling the numbers, my number, my numbers, the ministry's numbers, we still will not have the right resources to deal with the kind of demand that is out there. So I think it is for our leaders, and I'm not talking about any particular government, because I've seen it in successive governments. It's time for our leaders to put a vested interest on the family. If I had my way, I would have a ministry of family services, not a department, an entire ministry, because you're talking about we dealing about children making children. So where are some adult people having these issues with children and may understand the relevance of seeking help? Some children making children may need people to seek them out and find them. So you need to have some place that is heavily funded, well-resourced, well-staffed, so that they can assist families, not just giving a grant of payment or whatever, but also changing family life, going to families and changing them, making them less reliant on the government tools and become self-reliant and independent, so that they, if I never talk at all whole day, but at the end of the day.
And on that note, I have to tell you that we have a request for you to come into this facility sometime before Father's Day. I'm thinking around a Tuesday before Father's Day. You can come in and do. We continue this conversation on the morning drive because this is very important. And we're winding down to the end of our session this morning. Ms. Mohammed, any final words?
I just wanted to remind persons that, the National Family Services Division, we are here to try to assist in building families. And when we say building families, we don't want to wait until a situation is too, you know, contentious then to actually do intervention. So if you know that you or a family member, you are faced with any form of, you know, hindrances within your relationships, within your families, having issues with children and their behavior, maybe marital discord as well, you know, you can feel free to call us because we deal with a host of different social issues that affect families, and we are trying to be proactive in our approach. So you're reminded that the numbers to call, it's 623-2608 extension 6701 all the way up to 6710. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mohammed. Any final words, Mr. Fields?
Definitely, I'm glad you gave me the opportunity. I would like to take my hats off and thank Ms. Mohammed and those at the National Family Services. I mean, as I said, she may not be able to say it, but I can. I see the way they endeavor and work. I've called Ms. Mohammed myself out of floods in Greenvale and all these places, and they've always answered and they've always worked understaffed. I don't know what they pay, but I know they've worked understaffed and they've worked tirelessly. And it's time for our leaders to put respect on family and show emphasis and inject the resources needed. And I don't want to upset the whole show, but I have to be honest. And these people work tirelessly from National Family Services since the days of Ms. Vidya Puransing. And I hope our country understand and cherish and value what they do in their daily life.
Thank you, Mr. Fields. And we look forward to chatting with you again before Father's Day, probably on the Tuesday before Father's Day. We'll give you a call. Ms. Mohammed, thank you for being with us this morning. This has been the Legacy Series on Forever Young. God bless you.
The National Family Services Division of the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services extends its support and commitment to individuals and households that may be feeling overwhelmed, confused, depressed, or anxious due to the impact of COVID-19. If you or a loved one is in need of counseling, advice, or simply feel insecure or lonely, please call the National Family Services Division at 623-2608, extensions 6701 and 6707. Or you may call the ministry's toll-free hotline at 800-1MSD. That's 800-1673. The Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, helping, empowering, transforming lives. This was a production of the Information Division, Office of the Prime Minister, Communications.
Oh, good.
It's about that time for us to say our goodbyes.
Oh, good. Let me ask you something, Chris. In light of the discussion we had this morning, where does your father fit?
My father, he created that balance, because we had a present father. I know many people, unfortunately, they can't say that, but our father was present, emotionally and physically. You know, so I remember once I did something foolish in school, and I feared Daddy's reaction more than whatever punishment was going to come from the school. To the point where they had to talk to him. They was like, this boy is afraid of, not in a negative, but just,
So you misbehave in the school? You Mickey them?
Once or twice.
You Mickey them?
Shout out to Mova Anglican School. But Daddy played an important role because he didn't just speak it as a pastor or as a father. He lived it to us. We saw provision, whatever it was. It wasn't, this great amount of, but we saw provision, we saw presence, and I want to salute him for that today.
As I mentioned earlier, my father was very, very active, very, very present in our lives, and I'm really grateful that I grew up with both mother and father in the house. And my father used to ride from San Juan to Laventille every day and back, going to work in the rain, in the sun. He would turn his coat back to front, so he would ride into the rain.
Yeah, so he wouldn't get wet there.
And those things, we became so accustomed to it that we took it for granted.
Yeah, that
everybody was having that, it was normal.
Self-sacrificial.
And then you understood when you grew up that was very, very sacrificing on their part. And so I love my parents. I love them even more now that I understand the value of their sacrifice. And so yeah, I enjoyed the discussion this morning on Forever Young. And next week, God willing, we would be having again the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services joining us on 8 to 9 for the Legacy Series. God bless.
Even me being how I end my program, which I'm going to end the program now, and I always send love to my parents. God bless Joseph the Bishop and his beautiful wife, my mom. That's deliberate. This is my way of just always acknowledging what they have, the impact that they have in my life.
Would you advise that I start talking about Sylvan and Leonora and all of that?
When you start weighing the green, you have to start coming with no, I mean, we have, we just want to acknowledge and the impact that people have in our lives. So if you love someone, tell them. Don't wait until it's too late. All right. So Vince, I love you. You understand? Tiffany, I love you too. You understand? Mickey, I love you. You get some too.
Vincent, you get some love you today.
Right.
I love you back.
Blessings to my beautiful wife, Avanel. Love you. And our beautiful daughter Imara and our handsome son Amani Christoph. As always, want to let you know, don't package your dream to fit within your budget. Saturday Shakedown is up next. Stay with us. Isaac 981.
I'm Dr. Margaret Elcock, President, Founder of LV and Isaac. 2021 is here. The stage is set for a global